Hello everybody, welcome back to Work Right Planner. Here I share my unique perspective on planning and budgeting while documenting my journey to pay off 6 figures of debt. You see, I spent nearly 2 decades supporting 2 children on a single income, and it's taught me a lot that I'd like to share with you. So if you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. If you're new here and that sounds good to you, please consider subscribing and joining us. I'm so glad to have you all along for my journey. So here I have a list of what my debts were at the beginning of January 2021. As you can tell, it's not real pretty. It came out to a total of $73,965.83. So obviously I've already made progress toward paying down my debt. But I did the math on when I actually started trying to pay off my debt, and I am a decade into this journey, and that's as far as I've gotten. Of course, I've got my house also, which brings my combined debt to $124,107.54. Yeah, that's a lot of money that I owe, and my income is nowhere near enough to cover that. So 2022 was moving along just fine. I had actually paid this off completely. I'd made progress on the rest of these, was feeling really good about life, and then November and December happened. And I couldn't afford what happened, and therefore I accrued debt, because that's what you do. I definitely had a setback, but let's assess this and see if my setback completely wiped out any progress that I made in 2022. So for Capital One, my new balance is $3,299.91. Wah wah. That one definitely grew. For Murray State, my new balance is $2,284.83. On Lowe's, my new balance is $2,745.97. My car is now $12,036.22. I did refinance that, and because I refinanced it, I added $2,000 to it to cover some of the expenses that we were having to come off of. So that is still progress, even though I added $2,000 to it. So that makes me feel a little better about life. Kia, $12,003.10. M&P is still $1,375, and my student loans still don't require a payment. $38,749.57. Now, that gets the debts I originally had, but we also have to add in that I took out a new Menards card because I had to buy vanities for the bathroom. So that one has $798.22. That is all of my debt. Let's add this up. $73,292.82. So I've got $73,292.82. So let's just look at these. The difference that I made, I still went down $673.01. So even with the setback, even with it, I'm still down $673.01. I'm going to call that a win. Even though the year didn't go how I wanted to, I'm going to call that a win. So let's see where we made our biggest gains, because this one's obviously not a gain. Yep, 673.01. So all of the math is right, which makes it look like my biggest gain was in this Kia student loan. And even though I financed $2 back into the car, I still had $1,100 come off of it. So still calling that a win. Still looking good in most of the categories. Now, the house. Excuse me, my house. The new balance is $48,938.98. So in the house, I have removed $1,202.73 of the debt there. So that's progress. It's not as much progress as I'd like to see, but it's progress. So that makes my total debt $122,231.80. So my total reduction in debt was $1,875.74. Woohoo! Okay, so that is the comparison between 2021 and 2022. This is where we start right now. We're still at 73,000. I would love to see that number go down. You know, we went from 50,000 to 48 on the house. That's awesome. And we went from 124 combined to 122. So I am not complaining. Now, after watching a video from Dear Debt, and I will link her challenge below, I will link her channel below. I used the Vertex 42 debt reduction calculator that she suggested to assess whether the snowball method or the avalanche method would be best for me. So I'm going to throw up on the screen what this looks like, but you simply plug in your debts, your interest rates, your minimum monthly payments, and the amount of extra that you expect to have each month, and it's going to project a payoff date for you. So let me show you what it says about my debt. Now, I've been trying to work the Dave Ramsey method for a decade. And don't get me wrong, I think he's brilliant. I've been working 2 jobs for the last 8 years of that time, and it's just not working. Even with 2 jobs, I still didn't make enough money to throw a significant amount of money at my debt. And when you're a single mom, you can't always afford to move, because I know that he would say, well, move to where you can make the money. Well, the reality is that when you're a single mom, you need a support system. You need somewhere that you can trust, that you can take your kids so that you can work 2 jobs. So you can't afford to be without that support system. That's just the reality. So here I am, a decade later, still working baby step 2 after my kids are out of the house. And, I regret losing that time with my kids. So, what have I learned? Number 1, 2021 taught me that a $1,000 emergency fund is not enough. It's just not enough. What I would recommend if you're looking at, if you're low income and you're just starting this journey and you want to know what a beginner emergency fund might be, look at your car's deductible for your insurance. Look at your homeowners or renters insurance deductibles, and whatever the combination is of those, make that your minimum. Because if something happens, there is no law that says you can't get in an accident and have a flood in your house in the same year, because that happened to me. In fact, I had 2 floods in my house and a car accident in 2021. Well, I didn't have the accident, but somebody had it in my car. Anyway, it happens, and you could need both of those amounts in a very short amount of time. So if your goal is to reduce you touching your emergency fund, make sure you're utilizing sinking funds, and make sure that your emergency fund is enough to manage that. I also learned from using that calculator that the avalanche can sometimes get you out of debt sooner, and it saves the most money in the long run. Who knew, right? I mean, not that it's not all over YouTube and in this community everywhere, but the avalanche wasn't even something I was aware of before I discovered you all. So, what is my debt plan for 2022? I am going to use the customized debt payoff because it only shows an estimated 1 month's difference, and I may not have to pay my student loan debt, because by the time I get to that point, my 10 years worth of public service will far be met. I wasn't going to bank on student loan forgiveness, but they sent me a letter, and they have decided that they're going to count 5 years worth of the payments that they had decided that they were not going to give me, which puts me really close to having my student loans forgiven, I think. So, we're going to try this kind of modified avalanche. The funny thing about my situation, if you are comparing the avalanche and the debt snowball, in my situation, they're not real different, because the lowest balances that I have are also my highest interest rates. So, it's just a matter of what order they're going to be paid off. Anyway, so that is the plan. I'm going to start by tackling, I believe it's Menards, because it's the lowest and I want that win. And then after that, I'm converting to the avalanche and going to do it that way with a couple of modifications. You'll see it on the screen. Anyway, my next video is going to be sharing my 2022 sinking funds and how I settled on those amounts. Stay tuned for that one. In the meantime, if you're still in the mood to watch, YouTube has put the best match for you on the screen. And I will see you all next time. Have a great couple of days, everyone. Bye.